as with most months, I have bought a fair number of books. If you follow me on Instagram, which I'm sure you do, you will have seen an unboxing of my Amazon order. I wasn't going to order from Amazon this month. In fact, I wasn't going to buy books in June, which is something I say every month. But here we are. So, the reason I ordered from Amazon is that I want toast tongs and a shower cap. And both of them, you can only order them with other items, because in order to make them only $2 or whatever it is that I paid, they have to ship it with other things. So I ended up buying 4 books. The first book that I bought was So Sad Today by Melissa Broder. It is a personal essay collection. She runs a Twitter called So Sad Today. I haven't looked at it, but apparently it's pretty popular. So if you have and you like it, let me know about it in the description box below. Recently I've been watching some booktube, and during their hauls people read the back of the book. So I'm going to try that today and see how we like it. Let me know what you like down below. So Sad Today. The back says, in this starkly funny and brutally honest collection of essays, Melissa grapples with sex, death, love, low self-esteem, anxiety, depression, and addiction, and the drama of waiting for the universe to text you back. She illuminates with insights as sharp as her humor, and in prose that is both aggressively colloquial and achingly poetic, questions most of us are afraid to even acknowledge, let alone answer. Like, when did I even ask to be born? And why is there a committee in my head trying to kill me? From Botox to the abyss, Melissa precariously balances her own hilarious obsessions with a strong dose of existential dread, diving deeper into the psyche that made her a phenomena as the dangerously irreverent at So Sad Today. As I am coming to you from the future of July, I have already read this book, so you'll be seeing the review for it shortly. But yeah, first book from Amazon for book club. The second book I bought was Obasan by Joy Kogawa. I'm reading this with my friend Vivian as part of our Books by Asian Canadians series. I don't know how long this series will go on for, of us reading books together by Asian Canadians, but we'll see how it goes. She chose this one from a list of books on Goodreads that I compiled from a list of books on Goodreads. And this is what the back of the book says. A powerful and passionate novel, Obasan tells, through the eyes of a child, the moving story of Japanese Canadians during the Second World War. Naomi is a sheltered and beloved 5-year-old when Pearl Harbor changes her life. Separated from her mother, she watches bewildered as she and her family become enemy aliens, persecuted and despised in their own land. Surrounded by hardships and pain, Naomi is protected by the resolute endurance of her aunt, Obasan, and the silence of those around her. Only after Naomi grows up does she return to question the haunting silence. I think this sounds really great, and I'm really excited to read it. I'm just waiting for Vivian to pick up her copy. I've only ever heard good things. Joy is I believe a Japanese Canadian author. Does she have a bio at the back? No. She is definitely Canadian though, just why she was on the list. But hopefully this is going to be a lot of fun. The next book I ordered was The Drums of Autumn. Normally this is something that I would buy at Chapters, but they only had the tall versions and I like the short fabrics. Me and my friend Jillian are reading these together. She really wants me to start this quite soon, so we're going to get on it. I feel weird reading the back of this book. It's the 4th book in the Outlander series. What the hell? We'll do it. So this is what the back of the book says. It began at an ancient Scottish stone circle. There, a doorway open to a select few leads into the past or the grave. Dr. Claire Randall survived the extraordinary passage not once but twice. Her first trip swept her into the arms of Jamie Fraser, an 18th century Scot whose love for her became a legend, a tale of tragic passion that ended with her return to the present to bear his child. Her second version, 2 decades... I apologize. Her second journey, 2 decades later, brought them close together again in the American colonies. But Clara left someone behind in the 20th century, their daughter, Brianna. Now Brianna has made a disturbing discovery that sends her to the Circle of Stones and a terrifying leap into the unknown. In a search of her mother and the father she never met, she is risking her own future to try and change history, to save their lives. But as Brianna plunges into an uncharted wilderness, a heartbreaking encounter may strand her forever in the past, to root her in the place she should be, where her heart and soul belong. So that sounds like lots of fun. I'm very excited to read this. The fourth book I bought on Amazon was one that I told myself I was not going to buy. I thought about buying it at Chapters, and I was like, I already have this book, which is, of course, the Ravenclaw edition of the Philosopher's Stone. I bought it mostly because I really liked this. I thought it was really pretty. I'm also a Ravenclaw, so, you know, had to represent my house. So I'm really hoping that they release this in other books too. I would love to have a matching set of Ravenclaw editions, despite the fact that I don't want to buy matching sets of the Ravenclaw edition because I already have a perfectly good set. But what am I but not a book lover? So eventually I will read this book again, hopefully justifying the $30 price tag, but here we are. So when I went to Chapters with my mom, I was originally not going to buy any books, but of course this is impossible, and I came away with 2. The first one was one that I had admired several times in Chapters, and it is The Disappearing Moon Cafe. I thought that it sounded really cool, and it is, I believe, by a Canadian author. Again, surprise. In fact, Joy is the one that wrote the quote on the back, so connections. So the back of this one reads, Disappearing Moon Cafe was a stunning debut novel that has become a Canadian literary classic. See, I told you it was from Canada. An unflinchingly honest portrait of a Chinese-Canadian family that pulses with life and moral tension. This family saga takes the readers from the wilderness in 19th century British Columbia to late 20th century Hong Kong to Vancouver's Chinatown. Intricate and lyrical, suspenseful and emotionally rich, it is a riveting story of 4 generations of women whose lives are haunted by the secrets and lies of their ancestors, but also by the racial divides and discrimination that shaped the lives of the first generation of Canadian immigrants, Chinese immigrants to Canada. Again, I'm not very good at reading out loud, so I do apologize. Each character immediately drawn through Lee's richness of imaginary and language Each character intimately drawn through Lee's richness of imaginary and language must navigate imagery and language, must navigate a world that remains inexorably double, Chinese and Canadian, about buried bones and secrets, unrequited desires and misbegotten love, murder and scandal, failure and success. The plot revolves around a compelling microcosm of the history of race and gender relations in this country. Wow. There's a lot going on here. So I'm very excited to read this one and tell you all about it. The final book I bought is one that I have been on the fence about for many months. And it is, of course, A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I'm always confused about whether this is the first book by her or not. It is. It's by Sarah J. Maas. It's one of the ones that I have seen around again and again. I have not read the other series by her. So let me know down below if you think that I should read those before I read this one. But I was told by my good friend who goes by Shades of Maybe on the internet. So definitely, I'll put a link to her Goodreads and her Instagram in the description box below. She is an amazing human being, but she told me that these books were good and that she would recommend reading them, and I find her to be a reliable reviewer and not someone who's taken by trends. So I'm gonna read this and see how I like it. I am doubtful because most of the trendy books I have read haven't been great, harkening back to the days of Twilight, and many of the people who like this book are reminiscent of the people who I knew who really liked Twilight. Although I do appreciate fandom, to be clear. But, anyways, about this. So, it's a nice, tidy little stack. It's actually not that little. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes, how I can tell you about whether I like these books or not. I'm very excited to share my opinions, and I'm very excited to read all of them, except for maybe Harry Potter, which I've already read, but it's always a good go-to. So if you liked any of these books, or if you bought a different house one, tell me about your Harry Potter house, why not? But yeah, let me know what you think of any of these books if you've read them, or if you've been interested in reading one of them. I am a big fan of reading books with people and having private book clubs. So if you're like, man, Disappearing Moon Cafe by Sky Lee, that sounds like a book I would really like too, Colleen. Let me know if you have it, and if you'd like to read it, and maybe we can read it together. I think that would be a lot of fun. Anyhow, if you liked what you saw here, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm losing my voice, which means it's time for me to go. I'm on different parts of the internet as well, Instagram, Snapchat, Listy, the whole shebang, Goodreads of course. Find me at Unphilosophize, but the links will also be down below. So long for now.